Walking down the street, chickens blowing kisses. Never thought I'd end up 28 without a missus. Yet here we are, yeah, it's totally a thing. Making this movie about my life in quarantine. Started out hype, living life as a pirate. Then it got eclectic as time began to riot. Filmed my thoughts, what a terrible idea. Had a party over Zoom and got diarrhea. Ran out of toilet paper, life felt like forfeit. Turn on the news, an invasion of hornets. That's when it really truly started to unravel. I truly wish I could go motherfracking travel like toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. Toilet paper Jesus. I wanna be a vagabond, maybe I'm a Cylon. I should have killed them hornets with the motherfracking mask on. Covered in ketchup, man, I think I messed up. Need a therapist that will help me fill my loving cup. No, not with beer, they really need to steer this conversation with myself a light year away from beer that need to poop as Caesar. Sorry socks, it don't please us. Holy fracking crap, is that toilet paper Jesus? Toilet paper Jesus. 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 Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 11 of Lights, Thunder, Action. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, a.k.a. the son of Dale.
And my name is David Thompson, a.k.a. Hey, Thomas, do you have any money for a PS5? I think I really need one now. There's a specific reason I really need one now.
Spoilers, we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
We wanted to welcome all of our fans, all the millions and millions watching at your home. This is we're live streaming now to our Facebook page of Lights Thunder Action and over on YouTube at the HWWS WebTV. We are very excited to be partnered up with them. David, bro, how are you doing? It's Friday. We don't like doing Friday shows because we get crazy and go on 2.5 hour tangents, but we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Get ready for the tangents. It is Friday. I'm happy that it's Friday. I'm doing well. It's a nice sunny day out here in Melbourne, so feeling good, feeling excited to be here. A lot of news today, fun big topic today, talking about a little Star Wars. How you doing, Thomas? How's your day been?
I am good. My day has been weird, and that's why we're here. So it's been a week. I feel like we just did our last podcast, which we did. It was Sunday, so
yeah,
short turnaround,
quick turnaround this week.
It's been a great week. So much happening this weekend. Like, I'm putting a new roof on my dad's house. So that's why our show is early this week, because I will be dead after working in the sun for 12 hours every day this weekend.
No doubt.
Before we hop into everyone's favorite segment, please don't forget to just leave your comments. If you have questions or comments or concerns, or you want to say that I look like an idiot, which I do always, just leave them down in the comments. We will be able to read them. And we're going to hop right in, because the person who's commenting so far, we have some news about him. So we're going to hop to everyone's favorite segment. David, are you ready for...
Oh, I'm born ready.
What the news? Boom. The first bit of news for today is Terry McIver, who is always here with us every week, helps us with promotions and getting people to tune in and comment. He has actually joined the Lights Thunder Action podcast as our social media expert, because he doesn't sleep. And that's amazing because your boy Thor likes to sleep. He's going to help us out so much.
And he's already helped us out with some special stuff, which you'll find out in the future. Maybe depends on how contracts go. David, how much do you love Terry?
Oh, Terry's the best. You know, he's been typically our number one fan, I would say. At least one of our top fans. I'll give him top 3 at least. And bringing him on, I'm excited. He's always here for us. He supports the small streaming community in general. A bunch of our other cyber friends we have on here. So yeah, great guy. I'm so glad he's on. And thanks, Terry. Fun little piece of news.
Fun little piece of news to start the day off. We're going to keep rolling. Just like we said, we have a packed show. David, it is your segment.
Yes, we do have a packed show today, especially with the news. So this year, big news of the day is that San Diego Comic-Con this year is going to be remote. Amongst the COVID-19 outbreak, they've decided they're going to do a fully online Comic-Con. It came out a few weeks or maybe even a couple months ago now that the actual San Diego Comic-Con was going to be canceled. The in-person event, which is always a huge, ginormous event for all these, especially for movie fans, particularly Marvel and DC. They always have typically some big announcements. But this year, they will not be there. They will not be in San Diego. But they will having an online, event like con, if you will, taking place July 22nd to 26th. There will be no limits for attendance. It's free, which I was pretty surprised to hear. I was thinking maybe there would be right.
We can afford to go to Comic-Con.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it should be cool. I mean, I'm gonna get your thoughts in a second, Thomas, but it'll be amazing to see if they actually drop some big trailers or do any kind of Hall H style stuff. For all of us, I would love to see some sort of pre-made videos, almost like we saw with say the PS5 announcement yesterday, where it's these pre-made videos and you hear Feige or something like that, and you hear from the actors, and then all of a sudden they show us footage. That'd be spectacular. I'm excited they're doing this because it is such a it'll be a missed event still, the in-person event in San Diego. So, Thomas, what were your thoughts when you first heard this, that we're getting an online Comic-Con this year?
I think you're right. I think we heard about almost 2 months ago. It was the first day of CyberCon 2020 that we found out that it was going to be canceled. And that was pretty disheartening. But I think they also mentioned they were going to do a virtual style for all of us to kind of help us cope with the fact that the world shut down for 2.5, 3 months, however long it was. But it is exciting news because around this time we usually get trailers and new trailers, and footage gets released. So maybe we will get a trailer for Eternals, which comes out in February. May?
Yes, February. Nailed it.
February. I think Black Panther's first trailer came out around June before February release. So maybe they'll hold off till San Diego Comic-Con to kind of boost it up a little bit. I mean, it's got to be done. I mean, the film's done. They're working on VFX. So the actual trailer itself has to be done. I
know a lot of people are pining for the Eternals trailer for sure. I'm curious. I'd like to see it. I think they are kind of pushing everything back a bit because of Black Widow's not even out yet. So obviously they're kind of their marketing. I mean, it's newfound territory right now when it comes to their marketing schemes. They normally are so precise and have a plan. Obviously they had a completely audible. So I don't know. I would love to see it soon. Maybe it'll come, but normally it's with it. It's trailers come out when they're in theaters too, when there's a big other Disney film. So maybe I think more realistically, maybe when Mulan comes out at the end of July is then when we see an Eternals trailer. That's waiting a bit. But
when in July? Wait, when in July is
the end of July?
Mulan's the end of July.
The 25th of July, I believe.
Isn't this the same weekend? Virtual SDCC.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
Don't you have the link?
22nd through 26th.
Yeah. Okay. So Okay.
There we go.
You heard it here first, folks. For all of you in the chat, we have broken the source code, and we figured out that that's the. I'm really excited because, Premiere's opening down there, and fingers crossed something opens up soon here. Yeah. Which I really want to see Jaws in IMAX. So for the love of God, just put it in IMAX. They're doing a big special thing coming up soon, which is at Tangent Town already. But Kevin Smith's doing a live tweet of the 4K release, and our friends over at Heels and Reels or is it Reels and Heels? Ah, man, it's Art
Reels
and
Heels.
Reels and Heels.
Yeah.
They are auctioning off. They're giving away a 4K digital code for it. So it's kind of the perfect time to release, the Jaws. It's 35 years? No, 70 something.
I have no idea.
75, so that's 45 years?
That sounds about right.
Whoa.
55 years? No.
That'd be 65 years. That'd be 65 because I know the 60s easily. My dad is that. It's round numbers.
There you go.
Yeah, that is we cracked the code. I don't remember where we were at. How did we get here? Moving on.
Yes, moving on. Speaking of Comic-Con, so there's a few pieces of DC news we're going to get to right now, but the first one is DC is reportedly not going to be going to this Comic-Con at home. So kind of going right directly against what we just said, that Comic-Con's, happening, get excited. DC is not partaking. DC is planning on doing their own sort of multimedia virtual fan experience, they said, which will be held a month later on August 22nd. So, I mean, this could be fun. We're getting Comic-Con. Maybe that'll be more Marvel centric, hopefully. Only thing they could really show is, maybe, Disney Plus shows, Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Eternals, like new stuff we haven't seen, which would be fantastic. But anyway,
actually, you're right, because as what we've heard, Mando's on track still for October.
No news for Falcon Winter Soldier, man.
They haven't been announced, so it's still on for August. So, you're right. We could be getting our first bits of footage for all of that. When's D23? August, right?
Yeah, August.
So, normally. It has to be at San Diego Comic-Con.
Who knows the state of that, though? D23.
Goodness. You're right.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, but yeah, I mean, if they're going to still, maybe if they do a virtual, let's just say they do a virtual D23, you could still get some stuff there for sure. But everything's going to kind of, like we're saying, I mean, later news is going to be another piece where we're seeing the effects of everything being pushed back, but I've been talking about on this show since day one, since, COVID-19 outbreak started and all these, everything's getting just pushed back, and we're kind of having to wait in limbo right now to even just see the marketing for stuff.
We're taking all of our stuff from here and putting it over there.
But yeah, it seems like DC just kind of wants to do their own thing. I mean, we're seeing this with like video game companies, like we saw the separate PS5, event. We're seeing stuff like that. People going away from like the E3s of the world. Maybe this is kind of their way of going away from like the Comic-Cons of the world. I feel like they probably don't feel like they need to do the Comic-Con at home event. And maybe they just wanted to make it build hype around their own stuff. So I don't blame them necessarily for that, but I'm excited. We have both things. They're a month away. I'm sure there'll be hype going into that. Maybe we get a Snyder Cut trailer or any kind of trailer when it comes to DC. I'm sure we might maybe get a look at Suicide Squad because that's in post. So curious to see. Going into our next piece of DC news, this one is bothersome. Reading off of comicbook.com, the headline reads, Man of Steel 2 is not a priority because of J.J. Abrams' new Warner Brothers deal. So J.J. Abrams is now, working for Warner Brothers. He's rumored to be maybe working on a Superman film, which is something curious. And
wait, what? Is that what the article said?
Yeah.
I need to learn how to read.
Yeah.
He was rumored to be, he was working on a Superman film in like 2007, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what the article is alluding to, is that with him coming in and, we had the news that Henry Cavill is going to be back in the DCU in some form or fashion. And that this holds true with what that news was saying. The rumor was that there's not really plans for necessarily Man of Steel 2, but him to pop up in like a Shazam or the Batman or some other, or Wonder Woman, like not Wonder Woman, but probably Shazam or Black Adam, to be honest, or maybe Aquaman too, where he's kind of playing a Hulk role, like from the MCU. That was the initial report. So this kind of lines up with that, where they're saying there's not going to be a Man of Steel 2 because there might just be a Superman reboot with a whole new Superman being cast under J.J. Abrams' helm, which, I mean, it's pretty speculation. What the speculation, really? But
what the speculation?
But it's definitely something that's lining. Like we're kind of. I mean, there's the new Batman. They could just make a new Superman to maybe be in a alternate, DC EU. It's getting complicated. But I mean, I've said in the show multiple times, I want Man of Steel 2, directed by Zack Snyder. I would love that. I love Henry Cavill in the role. So Thomas, what did you think when you heard all of this about Superman and JJ?
Not surprised, because the article says that they want an A-list director, but the A-list directors are going to want their own. Correct. They're going to want their own actor, and it's like, why do you guys need an A-list director? Just get somebody who's intelligent and understands the character and can do something like Chris McQuarrie. The dude, like, I would love a Superman spy film. Like, you get Clark Kent on a super spy secret tour of being a reporter, and then at the end of it, it's also a Superman film. Like, I'd say it writes itself, but Chris McQuarrie, it would totally write itself. And he's already worked with Henry Cavill. That's where we got Mustache Gate. Release the mustache cut. So
release the mustache.
Release the mustache cut. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. What do you think
I think this entire article is pure speculation. I sent another, there was another one we found that we were going to bring up, and then I read it and was like, there is no source, no mention, just somebody throwing poop on a wall and praying it probably doesn't stick. I think this is similar, but this is more on they already have JJ trying to develop some stuff, which I feel a lot of type of ways about that. But he is making a Justice League Dark show for HBO Max,
right?
Or movie. So, potentially he might do something great, but
I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a little concerned with if they do another, why is Cavill even coming back if they're going to do another Superman? Why is that like the rumor all of a sudden that now they might do another Superman when, Henry Cavill wants to continue with the role? I don't really get it, but I'm a Man of Steel guy. I want Man of Steel 2. I'm pining for it. I like his character. I like the vision they had for that film. I don't really want to see a reboot of that. I'm going to enjoy, the Batman. I think that'll be exciting. Yeah. I'm not like, I don't want to see another Batman. I think that movie's going to rock. So I'm not worried about that, but I don't want to see maybe the Superman would be great. Maybe they'd cast it spectacularly, but
are you ready to hear why?
Yeah.
Flashpoint.
Yeah. I mean, they do have that in their back pocket. They can make everything work that way, right?
Exactly. And that's what I think everything's kind of going to. I mean, who the hell knows? Maybe they just have they have stuff ready to go and they're just throwing out misinformation so that we have no idea what's actually happening. And then boom, all of a sudden they're just like, after the Snyder Cut, they're like, by the way, here's Man of Steel 2. And it's like, what?
I mean, I would love to go to that DC event August 22nd and then just kind of lay out a plan for us, right? That's what I've always wanted to see with, WB and DC, now AT&T too. Like, you want to see just like a plan, right? Like just like MCU lays out a plan for you and you build the excitement, and there's some plan, but it's never like, I don't know. We're still at the point right now where we're going kind of movie by movie. It's like, what are we gonna get here? What are we gonna get there? And it's fine, but it could just be more, right? Like, I don't think there's a problem with us just desiring more from DC and like the filmmakers and the creative people there to give us something more collective. Even if it's a Flashpoint movie to kind of reset stuff, I think that's a great tool to do that, right? Like I think that could be a really and there could be a popular movie, so a lot of people would see it.
It's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question from Ryan Permison from Nerd Culture. Flashpoint live action movie or leave it alone because of the animated film? Now, I have a question before we dive into the answer. Have you seen the animated movie, David?
If I have, I don't really remember. I think I have. It's like it
came out in 2011, I believe.
Okay. I'm gonna say no just because I'm not 100% sure. I probably may have saw it in 2011 and haven't seen it since.
Yeah, you were a child then, so
yes.
So spoiler alert for the end of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, the newest DC animated movie that came out. They referenced Flashpoint, and then they also talk about aggressive spoiler alert, folks. If you've not seen it, cover your ears and because this is going to be, I'm going to end the movie for you. They have to recreate Flashpoint so that because of reasons, we'll just leave it at that, because of reasons. And it's like, so they're going to use Flashpoint as a way to reboot the DC universe so they can bring in newer stories. In the comics, the Watchmen are aggressively involved in DC lore now because of the Flashpoint. Because of Flashpoint paradox. So it's possible that they're going to just keep using this Flashpoint idea, and whenever the movie comes out, whatever they decide to do, they can fix it on a dime.
Right.
Or, set it on fire and watch it float out to sea like a Norse funeral.
Yeah.
God,
I wanted to point this out. Kyle saying Twilight is not my Batman. That's hilarious.
Oh, Kyle.
I think
you should have seen him in there's so many movies that he's in that's way better than Twilight. He doesn't even like Twilight. So that should be enough reason to know that he's a good choice.
I'm excited to see him in Tenet.
Did you know that Henry Cavill tried out for Edward?
Oh, really?
And lost it? And tried out for the same character that Pattinson got in Harry Potter.
Oh, what?
I saw a post about it.
Boxed out. Jeez.
He got boxed out and then became Superman. So who the hell cares?
He became Superman and then whatever. And then was given one film, and then they threw him. He was done dirty as Superman. That's my opinion.
1.75 films because he's half of Batman Superman.
That's true.
And we'll call the Justice League 0.25 of an entire movie.
I mean, okay, maybe when the Snyder Cut comes out, I'll give him the 1.5 then.
2.5. Hopefully, hopefully that movie will be
right. Hopefully, we don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. Thank you all for commenting. Keep that up, please. Oh wow, here's a good fun fact. Cavill was the runner-up for 007. Now that is something I could get behind, especially
Watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That's all you need to do.
Oh God, what a
Have you seen that film?
Love it. Love it.
That was a good movie.
Love everything about that movie. I need a sequel. It's just
I want to watch that again, honestly. I haven't seen it probably since it came out. I think I saw it maybe twice in theaters too. And
I didn't even see it in theaters. I was poor.
I don't when even did that come out? Maybe 2016. But yeah, that was a good film. It was
no, it was earlier than that. Oh no, it wasn't.
I
think it was 2015, 2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was homeless in 2016 and I watched it at a friend's house that I was crashing at.
There you
go. Shout out Voices.
All right. Moving on.
Wait, before we move on, when are we going to get a Kingdom Come movie? Dude, who
knows?
Yeah. I won't even lie. I'm going to say it here first. If we get a Kingdom Come movie, I want it to be Brandon Routh Superman. Because he played Superman as best as he could for that movie, from that movie that ever happened, which I don't even remember what it's called. Because
Brian says never. Yeah, literally.
It'll probably be never. Superman Returns. That's the name of it.
Yeah. Wasn't that was Brandon Routh. In the CW.
Yep.
Didn't
he played
suit?
He was Kingdom Come Superman, and it was the direct sequel to all of the Superman movies from the 70s.
Yeah.
He references going crazy and fighting himself from Superman 3. They make a couple of nonchalant references to 4, which no, don't ever watch the 4th movie, please. So I would love for that to happen. It'll probably never happen.
Yeah.
One day,
just go watch CW.
Yeah, just go watch it taking the CW. Now that's Superman. Which I think if we get Cavill as Superman again, that's the Superman we're gonna get, is that kind of guy.
That's a good point.
That's why we want this.
Right.
Give us what we want, AT&T. Stop charging my father $500 for your crappy internet you don't run fiber to. Sorry. Personal.
AT&T, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. AT&T, we're not friends, bro.
All right.
They're going to cut me out of the world.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the internet goes blank right now. See you guys. Non-movie related news, which is kind of rare for us, but we're expanding our horizons a little bit. But I really, really wanted to talk about it. I teased this at the beginning, teasing Thomas about buying me a PS5. Yesterday at the PlayStation 5, showcase, one of the first games, the first new game they show was Spider-Man Miles Morales, which to me, Thomas doesn't have a PlayStation, but if he did, he would have definitely played PS4 Spider-Man. PS4 Spider-Man to me was one of the best, definitely one of the best superhero games I've ever played. I would say it's just below I would say Batman Arkham City. I love the Arkham games. I think City is probably my favorite one of the group. But anyway, so I would say it's a little below Arkham City, but it's like in that, if you're an Arkham fan, Spider-Man was awesome for PS4. If any of you guys out there in the comments have watched it, played it. Great fun. As a Spider-Man fan, of course, I just loved swinging around, feeling like Spider-Man. The mechanics were cool. Like the fighting style was rad. The just the different button layout and combos and counters and stuff. Super fun game. Really good story, surprisingly. Like a really true Peter Parker story. Spoiler alert for the game, though, a little bit.
No, don't spoil me. I haven't played it.
No. Slight spoiler. Come on. Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out. Miles Morales is in the game. A small role.
Oh, I already knew that.
There you go. Exactly. I'm not spoiling the end of it. And he's probably 13 years old. So in the trailer we get for the new Spider-Man Miles Morales video game coming out is, it's an older version. He seems like he's already come into his powers. He's fighting crime. Maybe it's even, post Peter, taking up the mantle as Spider-Man. That's what it seems like from the audio too. And so news is kind of been breaking all day. Where they don't know if it's people were uncertain. Is this a new game? Is it going to be on the PS4? Is it just PS5? Is it a is it a full-fledged sequel? Well, it turns out it's not necessarily a full-fledged sequel. It is, however, its own game. It is kind of an expansion upon the original Spider-Man game. So it will be sold separately, it seems. It may be $40 instead of $60 because it may not be I may not have much of the length to the game or as much to do, and it probably will play a little similarly to the original Spider-Man on PS4 rather than whenever Spider-Man 2 or whatever they call it for the PS5 comes out, where it'll probably be a little different. Question from Kyle. Won't it
just be like PS4 Spider-Man though? Question mark. Upgraded graphics, but what else will be in the story? Question mark. Obviously, David, you know the answer to this because you're working on the game in your downtime in between classes.
Yeah, I wish.
Give us the answer, Spider-Man Lord.
Yeah, I would. So to answer the first question, I think it's going to be very similar to the PS4 Spider-Man. The thing is, though, it's going to be a separate purchase. And another question is, will it even be on PS4? I'm hoping so, because I don't want to buy a PS5 when it comes out because they haven't released the price for it yet. But it's supposed to be extremely expensive, the PS5, that is.
$6,000.
Literally. So, I would love to see, especially with, a glorified DLC, which it kind of will be, right? The Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man was 40 hours if you beat the entire game. Miles Morales is probably going to be 10 to 15 hours if you put it in that kind of context. It's not going to be.
That's annoying to me, though. I'm more excited about Miles Morales than I was PlayStation 4 Spider-Man because I mean, like it looked good, and I was like, "Oh, cool, maybe I'll get it." I probably will end up getting a PS4 soon for like dirt cheap at a pawn shop, just so I can buy the game and get it out of the way because I love Spider-Man. I think that my favorite superhero game ever is Spider-Man 2 and or Spider. What was the name? Spider-Man. It was on PlayStation 1. Like it's old school, but it was an amazing game, and you got all the characters you could play as Carnage and Venom and all those. So I was like, oh, cool, like I'll play it. But Miles Morales, give me that game. I am I'm all in on Miles Morales.
Yeah,
I like him. It's probably because I grew up with Peter Parker, and so I enjoy the difference that Miles Morales brings just as a character. Right. But I kind of like the Miles Morales a little bit more. It's probably also because he's still a kid as well. Yeah. And that's what I identify with as Spider-Man is, I'm never growing up past the age of 7. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the answer to the second part of Kyle's question is that it'll definitely have the updated graphics. I've already seen footage of like them running the original Spider-Man game on a PS5 where just like it's lightning fast. Like the loading screens are just super quick. And, just the processing power of the PS5 is going to be so much superior that it'll just run smoother, I'm sure, and probably look better. But yeah, I mean, just the actual game, it'll be a whole new story. It'll be his story. It's set like years in the future from when the original Spider-Man game on the PS4 was. So they'll definitely develop the story. In the trailer, we hear Peter's voice talking about Miles's dad and kind of like, so we'll get more story. It'll definitely be a real addition to the original Spider-Man game on PS4. But I think it is to some degree, it's going to be its own story. You'll be playing as Miles Morales, but it's kind of a glorified DLC. It's kind of a tweener where it might not even cost $60. It might cost $40. A lot of people are comparing it to Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was I think it was an Uncharted kind of spin-off game, but it was kind of in a similar vein. Shorter, a little cheaper, not with the main characters, not with Nathan Drake. So but hey, before that, when the announcement happened, I'm like, no way, because this came out of nowhere. I knew they were working on a sequel to the Spider-Man game because it was so successful. It was unbelievably successful for PlayStation, but I did not expect them to do a full-fledged like Miles game because they seemed to be setting up just like, oh, Miles might show up in the next Spider-Man game, but them actually calling it Spider-Man Miles Morales just gets me so excited and ready to play this game because I love the PS4 game so much that I want to dive back into it. But if I have to buy a PS5 to do so, like that stinks. And it looks like it's going to come out like launch date, like with the PS5. So it's like, dang, I almost wish it was coming out later. So it's like, oh, when I buy it for cheaper later, I'll have to play it. It'll kill me not to have it and it be out. I'll probably just watch gameplays and spoil the whole thing for me. But
don't do that.
Yeah, I'll
have willpower, bro.
I have no willpower.
And then, screen the whole game for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but exciting stuff. Speaking of Uncharted, though, moving on to our last news topic. Yes. Spider-Man 3 and Uncharted, both featuring Tom Holland, are Sony, produced films coming out. And they had their release dates were moved because of the COVID-19 breakout. Uncharted is now it's going to come out now. It got pushed up. Right. There's so much confusion with this because like Uncharted moved up, but Spider-Man moved back, and we were all confused. But I think Uncharted first moved back, then moved back forward. Anyway, the new release date for Uncharted is July 16th, 2021. So next July. And then Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out November 5th, 2021. But now what the news is, and it's kind of, it's a bit of speculation, but it is some news that Tom Holland is like the main character in both films, and Sony is the one making both films. So they have to get a little creative here. And that's kind of what they're reporting on. This quote says, Sony is really keen on getting as many productions done as they can while the water is warm. And the studio is working towards some unconventional means to get Holland's work on Uncharted done and dusted in time. That might mean shooting out of order to complete Holland's scenes and starting work on Spidey without the lead on set. So they're going to film Uncharted first because obviously it comes out first. And what's funny is they filmed one day of Uncharted And then that's when everything got shut down. Like Tom Holland was talking, he's like, I was filming this movie Uncharted with who's in it? Mark Wahlberg. And it, like after one day of filming, it got cut. So they have to kind of, I mean, this thing has to be condensed. I mean, poor Tom Holland. He's gonna have to. He definitely has to film both films back to back. Not even a question about that now. There won't even be a second in between because they're talking about having Sony, like the Spider-Man crew, start filming like Spider-Man without Tom Holland and getting some scenes with him out of the way first, which is like, man, they are really gonna be crunched for time. So if you watch both films, just look at his hair and you'll see they look exactly the same. the cut and everything would be exactly the same. So, but anyway, Thomas, what did you think? Just kind of reading this speculation on what Sony's going to have to do to get both these films done in time.
Shocking. With as much sarcasm as I can put into that word. That's how I felt when I read this. I was like, oh, they're going to do something weird. I expected that.
Yeah.
So, it is, we'll see what happens. Honestly, it could be, this could be a situation where like, they're both, I don't know if you'll be able to win an Oscar as a hero in a comic book movie ever, which is annoying, Academy. I'm looking at you. But between going from that like one movie, especially if the character in Uncharted and Peter Parker are just vastly different, it could generate really great buzz for Tom Holland in his career.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's already doing amazing. I mean, these are two, that's a good point. Like these are two big blockbuster films for Sony. They aren't some small little, it's not like he's filming like, what's that animated film he was in?
Onward.
And even the other one, the one with Will Smith, the like,
the birds.
Yeah, the spy movie.
Yeah,
like that, that's not as like time consuming and as how much effort as filming. Like, I mean, in both action movies, and he likes to do his own stunts. So
yeah,
I mean, it's going to be telling for him and take a toll. I mean, I can't imagine when he's fully done shooting Spider-Man 3 how it's going to feel. Because I mean, just shooting one film when you're the lead always seems to take a lot out of people. Like I remember watching the behind the scenes of Amazing Spider-Man 1. And Andrew Garfield talking about like, oh man, like it was so much fun, but it was a long process and there's a lot of long nights. And you have to, hearing Mark Webb talk about it, the director of those films. And it's like a lot goes into these and he has to do 2 back-to-back, different crews, different people, different characters. Like you said, he has to just flip that switch. So, I mean, Tom Holland's the man. I have full faith, but it'll definitely, I mean, we just hope that Spider-Man won't suffer because of it. I don't think it will. I think he'll bring his A game every day because he seems to have that kind of personality, and hopefully he's resting up right now because it seems like he's going to need to. And they don't even know when it's actually going to start filming. That's a whole nother part. It's like
classic.
They really, and different locations. They're not sure. It's crazy. It's just unreal. I think Uncharted was actually filming in Germany when they stopped. So it's, I mean, it's going to be a taxing thing, but Sony they do have somewhat of a plan to kind of get both movies done. And I'm excited to see both. Obviously Spider-Man 3 more, but Uncharted seems pretty cool. I played the games.
That makes one of us.
Yeah, it's PlayStation exclusive.
I mean, I had PlayStation all the way up until this most recent, but I had a PlayStation 3 until like 2018, I think. Or 17 when I got my Xbox, and it was because it was a Christmas gift. I was like, I don't even play games, but my nephews had an Xbox, so I was like, I'll get an Xbox. We'll be able to have good moments of playing games together, and we don't because we play totally different games, and I don't like playing Fortnite because they kick my butt. Damn kids. So we have 2 great questions here. We're gonna add a new segment in later on, David. Spoiler alert, it's now a thing. Where we go back and look at these questions, but there are 2 right now that I think are very important, especially considering what we're talking about. From Terry McIver, do you think we'll start getting some games being bridges between movies with the likes of cutscenes filling in gaps between one movie and the next?
I mean, I love that idea. I'm not going to say that I don't love that idea. I think it would be difficult maybe to kind of execute that though. I'm not gonna lie. You'd have to,
you need to finish Fallen Order, bro, because like
Yeah, that's true. I do need to finish Fallen
It
Order.
is. They're already kind of there. Is
Right.
my answer
Well,
because of
okay.
Fallen Order. Like it is just because the universe is so big that it's like, yeah, this happened. And the Age of Ultron thingy is apparently canon in the MCU or something, or it's rumored to be canon. So
Right.
it's like,
Well, okay. So what I would, yeah, I can see what you're saying with Star Wars, where I'm sure I can just kind of, I don't know what happens, but I imagine that Fallen Order, it references something that we already know about, and it connects some things.
all right, I feel better.
So, but I think what I'm gathering from Terry's question is that it's more like, okay, new games, new IP, or even just like, new stories. Are you gonna like say the MCU and they're making that Avengers game? It's obviously not going to be connected. But what if they were like, hey, this game is now going to be part of the MCU. You have to go play this game. I doubt something like that would happen. But I love Star Wars is such a great big, galaxy that this universe where they have the ability to do that with Fallen Order and connect some ties together, like connect movies or, the animated shows and all that. So, but the thing is, I think it's easier for these studios to think, hey, this person's going to watch maybe a Disney Plus show more than they're going to watch or like play a video game, because not everyone plays video games. It's not a thing for everyone that watches these movies and all this. So I love that idea. I would be all in, right? Like if the MCU was like, hey, this video game is a part of the MCU. I think maybe if they did that, the execution of that would be, I think what they would do is they would make the movie I think a little more important, but in the video game kind of complementary. Like it would give you more as a fan, right? Like you would get more out of it, but it wouldn't necessarily like affect the whole universe. Like if you didn't play the video game, you wouldn't be completely lost. I think would be the way they would do that. What are your thoughts on the question?
Exactly what you said.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I don't see them being like, you have to. It's not going to be like Disney Plus shows for sure.
Yeah,
and where it's like. And even then, it's like you don't have to watch these to know this, but if you want to understand it all, you better watch all of it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on to our next quick question from Kyle Crook.
Yeah, so
Hello,
Kyle's
Kyle.
asking. I know Kyle's active in the chat today. Didn't they move Venom 2 back as well? They sure did. Venom 2 is now releasing on June 25th next year, so about a year from now, Venom 2 will be coming out. It was supposed to come out this upcoming October, which was big time push. Morbius
movie
out this upcoming July. They got pushed, I think, to March. I want to say off the top of my head. Anyway, yeah, Venom 2 it pushed next summer, June 25th. Get excited. And will Tom Holland be in it? That's the big question. I mean, we've speculated on this show before on some previous shows, especially our Spider-Verse episode. We don't know the
episode.
Yeah, like we really don't know. If I was a betting man, I would guess he's going to be in it. I think he will. But
are you a betting man?
In this case, no, because I really don't know. I really have no idea if he's gonna be in it. Especially with all these, like, I don't even know when Venom's gonna get back to filming. I haven't even caught up with what exactly their filming schedule was like. I know Morbius was fully done. I'm not sure what Venom's like state was at. Are they done?
No, they're not done.
They're not done. Okay.
They, I want to say, are a little over halfway. But I don't actually remember. Normally it's like a 6-month shoot. What was that?
I mean, it was supposed to come out in October. Like that. I mean, that was so yeah, it was filming. I'm seeing here. It was filming in San Francisco. And so yeah, it's not done, but that's why they pushed, I think, so far, is because
they're not. They had a lot to do yet.
But yeah, he might. Like there's a chance that they're trying, like, just quickly about the Sonyverse. Like they are definitely trying to kind of meld that and the MCU Avengers universe in some way, where we don't know exactly what's happening, but we do know that Spider-Man would be the common thread in between those two. So we would. I think they are going to try to set up Spider-Man in that universe. Whether he has a very big part, I doubt it. But he might appear in some sort of role or cameo or something. I'd love to see it. I think it would be super cool to see him there, and if he's there for like the final fight, that'd be like unreal. But yeah.
Whoa. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah, I don't have answers.
I was gonna
But
say,
Venom 2 got pushed back. Hey,
Yeah,
let me call
true.
Tom Holland really quick. He's not answering.
hey
It's a
Tom,
watch.
so after you're done filming your 2 other movies, are you gonna hop in Venom 2 for a second? Like, I mean, that's the thing too of what we just talked about with all the crazy filming situation. Like, who knows if he even has time to hop over? But it's all Sony. Sony's gonna be busy once they get their, you know, the green light to get back to filming, right? Like, they got a lot to film. They're pumping out the content. Obviously, everything was talked about. We didn't touch on anything with the PS5 except for Miles Morales. Like,
Yeah.
so Sony's at work right now.
Hey, at least Sony Pictures is different from Sony Entertainment.
That
in
is
the
true.
sense of, I mean, they both spending money. So there's that. All right. So we'll move on. We'll come back to questions. There was a couple in there that I want to save till the end.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, again, please toss them in there. We're going to move on to our main topic of the day, and that is Clone Wars, the series finale. We finally got the gift of the wars in the stars and the wars of the clones. It ended on May the 4th of this year, and we've been keeping this in our back pocket of ranking and reviewing Star Wars The Clone Wars because we just had so much stuff to do.
Yeah.
And we had so many things that we were trying to get done, and we wanted to. This is going to be at least 45 minutes to an hour. We went on a 40-minute tangent in our last episode on The Last Jedi and debated the merits of the film.
Yeah.
So this will.
I didn't even get through in less than 45. We got this.
Just
look out for my random tangent about Star Wars halfway through.
Okay, I'll keep a clock.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank the final 4 episodes because
Right.
if we do the whole season, we're fracked, dude.
And it's not worth it. The final 4 is really what, Clone Wars. That was. I mean, it's unbelievable. If you guys have seen it, like, this is really for you guys. If you've seen Clone Wars, you fellow Star Wars nerds out there, like, such a great story. I mean, the first 8 episodes were good, you know, but they were just they weren't as hype as these. Especially, well, I'm not going to see my ranking yet, but especially as much as one of them.
Yeah, I haven't even figured out my ranking. I put this on at work today to kind of get it back in my brain, and I have yet to sit down. I've been waiting because I'm on a Clone Wars rewatch right now, and I'm in the middle of season 3. So I was like, I want to go back and watch the whole thing as a movie, and I did that today while doing work at the job. I was multitasking very well. It's been like I said, today's been weird. So I haven't even figured out my ranking. In all honesty, I know that there's one that makes me feel ways I haven't felt in a long time in Star Wars. But we're working on the final 4 episodes, which is the Siege of Mandalore arc. It is spoiler. Sorry, heavy spoiler alert coming from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. If you've not watched it, what the frack are you doing? Go watch it now. Come back. This will be saved somewhere in the digital world of the Twitter sphere. But the fact is, this is a movie, and it hurts me that they started the Clone Wars series by putting 4 episodes in theaters as a movie, and then it leading into the show when they should have put these 4 episodes in theaters as a movie, because waiting week to week was so emotionally draining and painful because it's so good that
well, that's the thing. That's what's funny about the difference between me and you. Yeah, it is. It's a masterpiece. And what's funny, from what you were saying, how it was hard to wait week to week. I didn't wait week to week. If you guys are a Let's Under Action fan, you know at the beginning, weeks ago, Thomas was always on me about, why aren't you watching Clone Wars? You got to watch Clone Wars. And I didn't watch any of it until all of it was out, and I binged. So that's actually what's going to be kind of difficult. I'm kind of looking over the episodes right now like, wait, I watched them like all in a row. So
in like a day.
Oh, yeah, literally. Yeah, but it was fun, right? I mean, once I got to the Phantom Apprentice episode, I couldn't stop. Like,
it took you that long?
What, to like? Well, it was late at that point. Oh, you mean to be hooked?
Yeah, in that arc, it took you that long to be hooked in that arc. Or are you talking like at the beginning when you realized it was a singular story?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I watched the first step, like when it was, when it gets to the good stuff, when it was Old Friends Not Forgotten. That's
Yes.
episode 9, right? I was like, all right, awesome, cool. And then I was just gonna watch that and Phantom Apprentice, right? And then I was gonna go to sleep. But I watched Phantom Apprentice, and I'm like, oh, I can't stop here, right? So I finished it, and that's what's gonna be hard about the ranking is because they kind of blend together. But I mean I know my order, right? I know my order. It was so good. Like, I mean, full spoilers, spoiler alert. Get it, like, get out if you haven't seen Clone Wars, or stay if you don't care. But
and be spoiled like the rest of us.
But I think, I mean, just everything where when I realized, I'm trying to remember what episode it happened in when you first realized that it's overlapping with Revenge of the Sith.
Old Friends Not Forgotten.
Oh, it's that episode. Yeah, right.
Well, if you remember how the start of Clone Wars, I'm sorry, Revenge of the Sith is. Yeah, so let's dive into Old Friends Not Forgotten. So it starts out and it has a typical Clone Wars start, except for, let's actually pause because it doesn't. It normally starts with the Star Wars Clone Wars and then a moral, and then it dives into the narration. Well, this starts with the original green Lucasfilm Limited.
So good.
Painfully good. And then it dives
real. It's like, oh wait, hold up a minute.
It started that, and I got goosebumps because I have not seen that since I was 7 years old on the VHS release. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like instantaneously I knew it was going to be totally different than anything we'd had before.
Yeah.
And then they hit you with Star Wars, the Clone Wars in red font, and they play the Star Wars theme. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. The classic theme that everyone knows, and then they jump into the narration, and the narration is the same narration we've heard in a couple other places. The outer rim sieges are blah 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 blah. And
Thomas,
they
I have breaking news.
Breaking
news. Christopher Nolan's Tenet has been pushed back. It's been pushed back to July 31st. Not that bad, but it has been pushed back to July 31st. You heard it here first, everyone. Christopher Nolan's Tenet has been pushed back to July 31st.
I want them to break the quantum barriers and bring it back on the 17th.
Yeah.
Now I'm emotionally sad. How am I going to get back into Clone Wars? Oh, yeah. It's Clone Wars, baby. Wow. So Tenet pushed back to the 31st. That's 2 weeks. That ain't a big deal.
Couple weeks. Yeah. But this, I mean,
for
weeks? Right now, that could change too. But yeah, back to the 31st. That's getting pretty close with Wonder Woman. I think that's August 4th, I believe. Somewhere around.
I think it's middle of August.
All right. Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah.
Anyways, back to Clone Wars. We'll update that at the end.
Breaking news.
It has it's got a general Clone
August
Wars.
12th, you're right.
Okay, yeah. It's got a genuine, typical Clone Wars opening when it comes to starting at the narration. They start at the narration. They go into the blah, 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 blah. You're dropped right into a war, which is my favorite part of Clone Wars, is they drop you right into the story every time. And then we get to see how fracking badass Anakin Skywalker is. Like, dude's just walking, dodging blaster bolts like it's no big deal. Like, it's literally skirting by his hair, and the animation just like
yeah,
that's my special effects. And then they, you're like, oh wow, okay. Then we get to see, which is, if it weren't for what happens at the end of this episode, this would be my favorite shot of this episode. It is the 501st with jetpacks coming from underneath the bridge, rocketing up and taking out the droids. I almost called them drones because of droid clones. And then we jump into the Ahsoka bits of the storyline, which is she's found Maul, blah, 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 blah. And then it leads up, and then I don't know, it's maybe it's 12 minutes into the episode because it's exactly halfway into the story. They're planning to go to Mandalore to take out Maul, and then the klaxon, the alert, the warning sounds, starts on the Star Destroyer. That's not the name of it. Whatever it is, the Republic cruiser. And Anakin and Ahsoka stop, and Obi-Wan runs in and says, General Grievous has attacked Coruscant, and he's kidnapped trying to kidnap the Chancellor. And then the last bit of information we get about that is Shaak-Ti was guarding the Chancellor, but Mace Windu has lost contact with her. And if you watched the old school Samurai Jack animation of Clone Wars, which ran 2 seasons before, and it was designed to lead into Revenge of the Sith, that's actually a storyline that they use right at the end of the series that leads into it. And we don't know whether Shaak-Ti dies there or whether she gets killed by Anakin. Spoiler alert, Anakin turns evil. But that's right there. Obi-Wan and big spoiler. Obi-Wan and Anakin leave right then and there, and that is actually the very start of episode 3. Because the very next thing they do is they jump out of hyperspace over Coruscant. They're in their cruisers, bang, bada, boom. Then they're on the ship.
Dope scene
then
from
Dooku goes headless. Do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, shnikes. And then it's like, okay, well, we don't know how lined up it's going to be. And we find out more of that in The Phantom and Princess. But my favorite shot from Old Friends Not Forgotten is when they are, I might cry, is when they are attacking and they're sieging Mandalore, and everyone's got their jetpacks, and it's like, sorry, Commander, we don't have enough jetpacks. She goes, I don't need one. Race you to the ground.
Yeah.
And jumps, and Rex is like, some things never change.
Yeah.
And then it's just, you get this absolute amazing shot of Ahsoka just doing a free fall from ship to ship, which reminded me so much of Ragnarok that when I first saw it, I cried, and I was like, yeah, I'm emotional. And then she saves a pilot, she saves someone else, she destroys an entire ship. Then she lands and she gets into her classic pose. And if you look at the poster for season 7, she's in that, and there's fire behind her. That is actually pulled right from that episode.
Yeah.
That's the shot, baby. Like, that was the shot that gave me goosebumps and made me cry like a baby.
Yeah. That was a great one. I mean, for the amount of shots we get in these 4 episodes, that is definitely a good one.
That's the shot of the episode.
Should we rank at the end or rank
at the end
by episode? Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Like we'll go episode by episode, and then we'll rank our episodes at the end.
Yeah, I what I really want is just like someone to get some sort of, I don't know how, but someone get the super cut where you're watching basically like this in episode 3, like at the same time, where it cuts. Like, it just,
you know
cuts
how hard that would be?
It'd be so awesome. Did you see? Oh my gosh! Did you see that? I don't know if you said
3-hour cut.
No. The MCU. This someone. I think it.
Yes, I sent that to you.
Yeah.
It is
where someone literally went and every single scene put it in chronological
order.
Yeah, chronological order, like in terms of like the timeline of the MCU, scene by scene, and put it in order where it's like
for
you
all
start
23 movies.
Yes. And it's like super in depth. Like it's crazy. It's like a little scene from here, a little scene from there. This post credit scene, that post credit scene. Like, because you think about all like kind of the throwback, scenes that we get in some of the movies, you forget, and then all of a sudden it's like, you've got to go back to Thor: The Dark World and then talk about the elves and everything.
Oh my God, yeah, it's literally like you start at Thor: The Dark World, then you go to Thor 1, and then you go to like.
Guardians, or
there's a scene from Winter Soldier or Civil War, one of those two, where Steve is still skinny, and it's the funeral of one of his parents, and then it's like you get to watch that 11-second scene, and then it's mad. It is literally mad.
See, if she can, if she could line all that up, boom! Somebody put together the cut for this episode 3 and Clone
Siege
Wars.
of Mandalore.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to see it.
Yes. So Old friends not forgotten. They do that, and then they lead through. They land on Mandalore. They take on Senator Almec, Commander Almec, Prime Minister Almec. That's his actual name. And they dive into the chasing of Maul. The whole point is to capture Maul. There's some great lines. There's a great confrontation between Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Anakin. We get to see that part of the 501st have painted their helmets to look like Ahsoka as a tribute to her. That I cried at that scene too. So
common thread these last 4 episodes, I'm sure.
Lots of tears, man. I'm so dehydrated. But they there's an amazing scene. It's like, no, you're playing politics like you always do. And Obi-Wan's like, I'm not going to allow my, oh my God. And then there's a callback to Sabine. I'm sorry, not Sabine, Satine. Dying. And it's like, what? It's such a stab at Obi-Wan too.
Yeah.
And then, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to tell a linear story to save my life, but we get to the end of the episode. They chase Maul. And then you find out right before that it's a trap. Shocking. It's a trap. Yeah. So then it ends with Ahsoka in these tunnels, and then all of a sudden you hear the clanking of the metal feet, and then you hear Maul. He goes, I was expecting Kenobi.
Yeah.
Tell me, why'd he send you? No, it's why are you here?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and then they cut to black, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
And all you hear throughout the credits is the hum of the lightsaber. And we had to wait a freaking week.
I didn't. I had to wait 0.2 seconds.
So painful.
I can't. That's the thing. I can't imagine watching this week by week. That would be so painful because the episodes are so short, and like they go together so well. Like they are literally, like you said, a movie. The last 4 episodes are just like a small movie.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to watch it, honestly. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, so what happens at the beginning of the next one? We cut right back to that room.
We cut right back to that scene, that room. This time, as the episode intros, the only sound you hear is the humming of the lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's an audible cue to be like, oh, it comes right after this episode. Dude, what? Okay, so the Phantom Apprentice explodes with all of the canon. I'm trying to remember because I binged them today, and now I'm like, did that happen in Shatter? Did that happen in Phantom Apprentice? No, it happened in Phantom Apprentices. Okay, so we have a standoff and a discussion between Ahsoka and Maul. Then the clones come on and they fight off Maul. Maul runs away. Shocking. Then we get a little bit of discussion between Ahsoka and Bo-Katan Kryze, who's played by, I'm such an idiot. Katie Sackhoff. I'm so sorry. I should have known that.
That's okay.
Yeah, she played by Katie Sackhoff, rumored to be played in live action, also by Katie Sackhoff in Mandalorian season 2. So they have their discussion, and it's like, oh, this siege is taking too long. We need to get these Republic people off here. And it's like, as soon as we capture Maul, we will get them off here. And it's like, okay, cool. Which is what a tall task that would be. Especially considering everything we know. But it's during this that they give an update on Maul, and we get to talk to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there's a holocron. Is that right? No, that's not right. Hologram scene.
Hologram, yeah. What's a hologram?
And they talk. Yeah, a holocron is the Sith and Jedi instruments to hold knowledge. But this is where we learn how lined up.
Finder. What about one of those?
It's basically the same thing. Yeah. See, no, it's literally the same thing. It's a holocron. They just called it a wayfinder because JJ. So this scene, you know, and this is where I really want to talk to you because this is where you got hooked, and I know that. We find out that Anakin has killed Dooku.
Oh yeah.
And this scene takes place after Anakin and Obi-Wan have already had their discussion about spying on Emperor Palpatine.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
sorry. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. So this is where we learned that, okay, Dooku's dead. They've already made the siege.
Yeah.
And it's lining up in this fashion.
the
And
moment.
he's literally about to leave to go to Utapau. And he's complete with cloaked hood and all of that. And
That's he's going to get General Grievous, right?
Yep, he's going after Grievous, and
Yeah,
he's already
he
had
says
that discussion with Anakin. I'm pretty sure he's already left for Utapau, and I think he's on Utapau, and he's had this time to think, because he's cloaked, and when he leaves Coruscant and departs from Anakin, they have that, you have grown into becoming my brother, Anakin, and I'm so very proud of the man and the Jedi you've become, and your patience and blah, blah, blah. And that's when they have that's their final scene together as Anakin and Obi-Wan, because after that, he's Vader. He's as close to Vader as a human that we will ever see.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that this scene takes place on Utapau, where Obi-Wan is, at least.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good theory. I like that.
So what went through your mind?
Yeah, well, what's funny is when you said that it was, and there's a later, I forget when it is, there's another hologram conversation that's a mirror of the one that we see in Revenge of the Sith. I think it's with Mace and Yoda.
That's in the next episode.
Yes, and that was awesome. But this one, I think when he all of a sudden he's like, oh, we killed Dooku and stuff. When the audience noticed that was the moment. I'm dumb. That was the moment where I'm like, hold on a minute. This is during episode 3. We're actually crossing over. I didn't realize. I really didn't know, because I kind of stayed away from spoilers, even though we've kind of been talking about it a bit. I stayed away from spoilers for the most part, and I didn't know. And all of a sudden he said, take out Dooku. I'm like, oh, we're getting. I mean, I kind of heard whispers, but I thought if we were going to cross over with Revenge of the Sith, it wasn't going to be as thorough as this. I thought it might just be, we get Order 66 at the end, not as layered and intertwined as we got it, which was awesome, man. Hearing that and knowing this is happening, just it felt I don't know, it was just a really cool experience to watch and really know that this canon is I don't know, really matters to a certain degree. And we're I mean, they're directly happening during one of the main saga films. So yeah, super cool. This episode was really good. Obviously the ending is is part of the reason I think this episode's awesome, but you can keep going on with kind of the plot.
Back to the plot.
You are the plot guy.
That's the most dangerous statement anyone has ever said in my life, ever. So then we dive in a little bit further, because at the end of this scene, how should I? Obi-Wan and Ahsoka are talking back and forth, and when Maul was talking with Ahsoka earlier, he mentions Darth Sidious. Yeah. And it's oh, holy crap, they dropped the Darth Sidious name on Clone Wars. Never thought that would happen. And I thought it'd be the only time we hear that in the episode, but they drop it 1,000 more times. So after that, it's just loose cannon.
It was really cool. It's so cool seeing Maul's kind of side of it, and him being it's gonna be bad. He's almost this kind of gray area character now, where he's not serving the Emperor. He's not really pro the Empire, right? Because
he's
he
not
was
pro
left
the
for
Empire.
dead.
He was,
clearly.
Well, okay. Here's something that you'd actually don't know. There was a quick line. It might be in this episode. It was in this episode where he talks to Gar Saxon, and he says, "You once saved me from the clutches of my old master and his new apprentice." And that was actually supposed to be a Clone Wars arc, but turned into a comic because Clone Wars got canceled. But he gets captured by Emperor Palpatine and Dooku, and they do. I haven't read the arc, but the gist of it is they're trying to do something, and they tell him that he's going to do something for them. Yeah, and it's all going to be orchestrated and blah 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 blah. Oh gosh, excuse me. He actually, I'm pretty sure he gets kidnapped in one of the final episodes in season 5, and then it got canceled, and they came out with 13 episodes of season 6.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a through line to that. He learns a lot, and they make a mention. He tells Gar Saxon, he's like, "I thought Count Dooku was a fool, but now I see.
Yeah.
He was just a part of the machine like I am. We were one and the same. So it's like, oh man, like he makes reference over and over. Is this the time? Is now the moment that is upon us?
So interesting.
It's
so, such a cool like
it goes to show you how manipulative Palpatine really was, because he told no one the full plan.
Yeah, no one. Definitely no one. I mean, not. I mean, you see it even in just episode 3. The look on Dooku's face when he's like, "Do it." Like, I mean, Dooku's like what? Wait, what? That's not what you told me 5 minutes ago.
Good. Now kill him.
Yeah,
do it. It's like, it's not the Jedi way.
Yeah,
we could quote
turning
that
into
whole movie.
Yeah, it's turning us this quoting.
Darth Maul ends up, making this run, and he mentions Sidious, and my favorite line that's not like major canon is when he's like, I thought Kenobi would have come himself, and brought his loyal foal Skywalker. And it's like, oh wow, he called him a loyal foal. What a dick. Like, that is my favorite line, because that's such a Maul thing to say, dude.
Yeah. It is funny. Like, it's so true. Like, he would want to see, Obi-Wan. And I mean, it was good by the Clone Wars to kind of work around what they had to work with episode 3 and kind of make it this own unique and also cool story. And and not just be like, oh, that would maybe make sense if they had like the hindsight for like this whole story. But,
he did. I mean, George Lucas did.
Yeah. Right.
This is like Dave Filoni said this is the last bit of Star Wars that George Lucas directly was involved in.
Right.
So
yeah, it is cool. I mean, and we're seeing it because I mean it is in the prequels timeline and everything. But yeah, this episode, you can go on with the plot, I guess. But the ending is
so we get, if you've seen the trailer, that they have a showdown in the. It's basically a throne room showdown on Mandalore, and Maul and Ahsoka are there, and he asks, take my hand and together we can stop the Emperor from doing what he plans to do. And she says, I'll accept your offer, but on one condition and one condition alone. What have you to ask? And
Thomas,
then she's,
I have more breaking news.
Frack, dude. Let me get this out. Let me get this out.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm in the zone, dude. This is gonna drag on if we keep breaking news.
I know.
She wants to know, what does Skywalker have to do with it? And he says he's the key to everything. She goes, to bring balance to the Force, to destroy. And that is when we learn. See, I thought the Phantom Apprentice was about him, because it was the Phantom Menace and the Phantom Apprentice. And at that point, it's like, oh, self-censor. It's going to be, it's not. It's totally been about Anakin this whole time, which is what Clone Wars is about. And the opening, like all of Star Wars until episode 7, it's about the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. And he lays out everything then and there, which we didn't expect. And we as fans know, holy crap, like he's telling the truth. But obviously, because he's Maul, Ahsoka doesn't believe him fully. You can tell she's like, that is interesting.
Well, he basically kind of sensed it a little bit.
Yes. When
but it's like
Anakin,
fighting her feelings.
Yeah, when Anakin departs from Ahsoka in Old Friends Not Forgotten, there's a look on her face like, when will I see him? Like, will I ever see him again? There's like a vibe to it. And so when in Phantom Apprentice, they have this showdown, he breaks down everything. Anakin's been groomed by his old apprentice, Darth Sidious, to become his next major apprentice and destroy everything on the dark side of the Force and join the dark side, yada, yada, yada. Destroy the Jedi. And she's like, you lie. If you knew Anakin like I do, it wouldn't be. And he just basically just like, well, sucks to be you. Yeah, I don't even remember what he says, but it sucks to be you. And they go into this.
It does kind of suck to be her.
It does. Now, this is my favorite scene. because they brought Ray Park back to do mocap for this lightsaber fight with Ahsoka. And when we saw the trailer, we all the fans thought that was going to be the end. Like that was going to be the climax. Nah, fam. This is the end of episode 2. This is essentially the start of Act 2 of the whole story is this fight, really. Which is amazing. They fight, they go back and forth, awesome. And my favorite line from Ahsoka in this whole thing is, it's a good thing Anakin wasn't here to fight you. Because if you were to fight him like this, you wouldn't last a minute. And it's like, oh, you are right. Because, spoiler alert, Anakin willingly killed Admiral Trench in episode 4, I think, of this season.
Yeah.
You know, you're a Jedi. You can't kill me. It's a part of the code. And he goes, I don't have such weaknesses. And it's like, oh, this is Revenge of the Sith Anakin for real. So we as fans know, he'd have probably sliced him in quarters, not half, quarters, to be safe. And then they go have this just mind-blowingly amazing fight. And then there's a certain music that plays underneath it that I'm pretty sure it is the same music that plays when Anakin is having bad dreams about Padme. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But it's very tense. It's very tense music. And they keep cutting back to the Mandalorians fighting. The Mandalorians fighting the Maldalorians. Got to use the words. And they're going back and forth. And it is just mind-blowing. If you're just joining us, we're halfway through talking about Clone Wars, the final 4 episodes. Heavy spoilers if you haven't watched it.
Still breaking news, by the way.
And we still have breaking news. We'll get to it after Phantom Apprentice. We'll need a palate cleanser because boy, oh.
All right, we're almost there.
Then the Phantom Apprentice, they're bouncing back and forth. And all I could think was, holy crap, are we about to get Order 66? Like, I thought we were going to get Order 66 at the end of episode 2.
Wow.
The Phantom Apprentice. Because that's just how it was building. And I started getting teary-eyed because that's what the music was building toward.
Yeah. Music was really well. Really
dude, this is what this for the first time ever, they pulled in actual music from episode 3 and from old Star Wars. I don't think they ever played no, they did. When Ahsoka is staring in Coruscant in episode 5, she's staring out into like the big open area and all these ships are passing and they play Binary Sunset.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, that's the beginning of her journey right there. Like her own true journey. She was trained as a Jedi and then she has to, at this moment, decide who she's going to be. Whereas, you know, if you were to compare it to Luke was trained to be a farm boy. And then at that point, you know, he has to make a decision of who he's going to be. And he goes on with Obi-Wan. So many amazing parallels. Phantom Apprentice ends with Ahsoka besting Maul. And Maul falls. First, there's a specific scene that is very important to this episode, Anakin, and the next episode in its title. They break the glass. And by they, I mean, obviously, the dickhead Maul. He breaks the glass and it shatters above them. And it creates a spider web in it. Very important. I'll come back to it at the end of the breaking news. Maul falls. She holds on to him. And Maul flips out and he goes, if you've watched Clone Wars, you know that he was completely bonkers when he was half a man, half a spider. And if you've watched Rebels, you know he's even more bonkers. This is the first time we see him lose his calm, cool demeanor and grasp. He says, no, let me die. Let me burn. Let me die. And then she's like, no. And Rex and them come up with the gunships. Scene. They rope him, and he's like, we're gonna, I gotta step back. We're gonna burn. You're gonna kill us all. Ah. Then they stun him. And the episode ends. And it's like, what the frick?
Literally. I mean, that was kind of what you were saying earlier with him, like knowing like what's coming and everything. It was such a cool angle to it. And like hearing his fear And the like, oh my gosh, you don't know what's coming. Like it's coming though, and it's gonna be terrible, and we already know what's happening and everything. But super cool to see Maul, and especially if all characters Maul be like so scared of it and just like rather would just die, right? Just let him die. Very powerful stuff for sure.
And I'll say that this was the hardest ending to go from. Old Friends Not Forgotten, I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, it was, I was ready. That's the part I wanted, but that was the good design of the episode. It cut it off right where you wanted it to be at. Phantom of Princess, because Maul lost his crap, I was like, I can't wait a week.
Yeah.
And I had to wait a week. And then Shattered ended, and I was like, I got 3 days until the next one. It's not a big deal.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like after this episode, I like just kept watching. Like I just had to finish because it was I have to know. Like it didn't even feel like it was even the end of an episode. I'm like,
it was like they stopped it right in the middle of the story, which they do, but also it's like, oh
yeah.
All right. So quick side tangent. What's our breaking news, David?
Breaking news. So I guess this is kind of a Warner Brothers news segment. Tenet, we just got pushed back July 31st. Wonder Woman 1984 has also now been pushed back to October 2nd.
Yay!
Yeah.
The day after my birthday.
Yep.
Oh my God. I get Gal Gadot on my birthday. I can never say that again. It is one way to put it. And Kristen Wiig, who's one of my favorite comedians. So
so I guess Warner Brothers is kind of announcing some release date plans and changes. So both of them's been pushed back. Now Wonder Woman now pushed back. We just looked that up. It was supposed to come out August 12th. Now it's being pushed back to October 2nd. It's second pushback. But yeah,
I'm actually a big fan of that because I finally get a movie on my birthday.
There you go.
Like it was supposed to be Venom this year. Next year it's going to be the Batman. I mean, technically it'll be an early birthday next year, but next year it releases on the 1st of October, the Batman. But Wonder Woman 84 first premieres will be on October 1st. So like, that's a good way to turn 29.
Yeah.
Crack. Yo, Brennan, if you're still here, we're old, bro. We are so old. What happened to us?
Back to the plot.
Back to the plot. So, okay. The next episode is called Shattered.
Yeah.
Here is I'm going to take I'm so sorry that I'm going to go on this tangent. It's going to take me 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see what happens. So Mace Windu has such a unique, he's one of my favorite characters. I honestly think that if Mace Windu weren't such a dick to Anakin Skywalker would not have chosen to slice his hand off, his arm. He wouldn't have turned against the Jedi in that moment in Palpatine's office because it's Mace who is his fighting style is, and he's the only one that uses it, pulls on the dark side when he uses his lightsaber. That's why he is the most powerful warrior outside of Yoda. And it's said that if Yoda and Mace Windu got into a lightsaber duel, that Mace Windu would probably win because of his usage of the dark side. He enjoys war. He enjoys the fight. And he is able to balance it with himself after. So that's why he kills Jango Fett like that. That's why he is one badass mother fracker. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's perfect that Samuel L. Jackson played him. One of his special abilities in using the Force, well, he's got a few, but the one that is most important to this tangent town I'm going on is called Shatterpoint. What that means is he has the ability to look at shatter points in the timeline, aka points of interest in other people's lives to see how they're going to go. So for example, when he's talking about Anakin Skywalker in episode 1, and he goes, his future is clouded and the dark side surrounds him, he is mentioning his potential future in Shatterpoint. I'll get back to that specific mention in a moment. So let's use a character such as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He would have seen multiple points in Obi-Wan's life where he might have turned to the dark side, right? And he would see the outcome of that and the potential lead-ins to what would happen to that. So he would basically be able to know what the future holds. Why is that important to the last episode, this episode, and Anakin Skywalker? he would look at someone's life and find the shatter point, and his goal would be to help them avoid the dark side. I'm kind of paraphrasing and hypothesizing, and that's conjecture on my part, I'll say. When it comes to Anakin, he could never find shatter points in Anakin's life because Anakin himself is a shatter point in the timeline. At the moment that the glass shatters in that office with Palpatine and Mace Windu and that's why it's such amazing symbolism. That moment is so important because if Anakin chooses the light side wins. If he chooses the dark side wins. We obviously know what he chose.
Yeah.
So
wow,
he himself he himself is a shatter point, and that's why Mace Windu never trusted him, because he could not see into his future.
Yeah.
Ever at any point, because of him being a shatter point.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Now, that ties into the spider web and the shattering of the glass. And that leads into episode 3, Shattered, which I just found to be such amazing symbolism that it was called Shattered.
Yeah, no, that was educational,
right?
That was cool.
I have to give credit to Jabba the Pod. I listened to them, and that was the only thing that got me week to week between these episodes was listening to them.
Yeah,
I heard about that from them, and I've done research on a bunch of other stuff about Mace Windu since to learn more about him. When it comes to music, this episode, Shattered, is the most important of music. It starts out, so we know in The Phantom Apprentice that Anakin has gone to, I didn't actually mention this, crap. He's gone to talk to, he's got a spy on Palpatine.
Yeah, right.
And we know Obi-Wan's going to Utapau. So if you know Revenge of the Sith, you know that he gets to Utapau, he relays and says, I found him, I believe he's here. And then the very next thing is Obi-Wan's found General Grievous. Anakin, please go inform the Chancellor. That leads to the Opera House scene, right?
Yeah.
The start of this episode is that same music.
Ooh.
It is, and there's not a lot of speaking in the first 5 to 7 minutes of this episode, and it's all that music.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Is the episode that Order 66 happens in?
Spoiler alert. Yeah. So, wow. I'm trying to think how to get into this episode, because I just want to
talk about that wreck scene, man. When it happens, that was killer.
We'll get there. I have to pull up a little bit of assistance here, because this. Yes. I can't even. I'm speechless. This is very high in my ranking. I will say that much.
Yeah.
The Siege of Mandalore is basically over. They've got they're arresting Gar Saxon. Bo-Katan watches that. They put Maul in a special container.
That thing they couldn't get out of or whatever.
Yeah, it's a I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Mandalorian container that was used for Force users. It was pretty neat to see.
Yes, and I'm trying to find. It's not telling me on here. So yeah, it's actually it's a prison. It's a way to bound. If you watch X-Men or Flash, you know that there's power dampening collars. It's basically that. It's an entire power dampening chamber, and it kind of, how I understand it, it cuts you off from the Force and limits your abilities based on the technology that the Mandalorians have developed throughout time. If you don't know, there was a schism between Mandalore and the Republic, and that led to the Jedi-Mandalorian War, which I still want to see in Mandalorian, please. They have a discussion, and we find out that that's the last one of these prisons, because they were outlawed by Satine, Duchess Satine of Mandalore, who's Bo-Katan's sister. Then Rex approaches and says, hey, we have the Jedi Council, blah, blah, blah. he asked if he was able to contact Anakin, and he said he was in a meeting when Rex asked for. They go in, and this is where we get a direct scene that we see in Revenge of the Sith. This is the only time we get a scene from Revenge of the Sith in this show. And it's when Mace Windu, Ki-Adi Mundi, Yoda, and Aayla Secura, are discussing the situation. And she walks in with Windu saying, "I sent a plot to destroy the Jedi." And that's when we get that whole, well, if the Chancellor's not going to give over power, we should remove him from office. We should... the Jedi would have to take over to negotiate a peaceful transition or something like that. And that's when Yoda says, "A dark thought. This path will lead us down. A dark path will this train of thought lead us down." And then
hard to quote Yoda sometimes.
Sometimes, that's when they stop talking, and Ahsoka comes in, and it's like, okay, you've done your thing. And this is one of the most important scenes for the fate of Star Wars because of what Ahsoka knows. She knows Anakin is being groomed to be Darth Sidious, his master, and they know that they found out from Obi-Wan that Darth Sidious is the Jedi Council knows that Darth Sidious orchestrated the Clone Wars and played both sides of it. So we already know that going in. Obviously, I'm really bad at relaying the plot, but it wasn't important until now. She talks to them and confirms that her mission was a success. They've captured Maul, and she's going to escort Rex to Coruscant when they transport Maul. Yoda congratulates her, and she says that she did her duty as a citizen. Yoda asks, "Not as a Jedi?" And she says, "No, not yet." Then she wants to talk to Anakin, and they say, Anakin's not there because he went to inform the Chancellor that they located General Grievous on Utapau, which, as we know, is when he learns about Darth Plagueis the Wise. And that's why that music is playing right then and there, because if I'm not mistaken, they send him off right there. They send him off, and then it cuts to the thing, and then it cuts back to them. I don't remember how it plays out in Revenge of the Sith, but excuse me.
I'm not sure either.
It's been a while, but I do want to do a super cut of these together.
Yeah, right.
So where is it? She says that the war could be over. And Windu says that it depends on the Chancellor. She asks for more information, and they say, Windu says that is for the Jedi Council to discuss, citizen. It's like, oh, what a dick. You're a dick to everybody. No wonder you get killed. Whoa! So rude. And then Ahsoka says she understands, and the council leaves, except Yoda. And Yoda asks if she has a message for Skywalker, perhaps. She pauses and says no. She'll tell him herself when she sees him. And then Rex inquires. So this is why this scene's so important. Rex asks, or says that she didn't tell them about Maul's prophecy regarding Skywalker. And she says, "No, I didn't." If she tells them right there, game changer, especially considering that
and
Darth,
when you're watching it, he doesn't. That's kind of killer too. It's like, it's like one of those things. Like, come on, like just do it. Like, if they find out then and there, they go and they help take down Palpatine, and we know that Anakin does the right thing. He goes and tells the Jedi Council, but they make him wait there, which was a genius idea. Then again, maybe not. Like maybe if he went there and saw that Palpatine attacked first, it would have changed. Like he would have been a little less brainwashed, right? He would have probably done what needed to be done and been upset that he was lied to by Palpatine, right? Yeah.
Speculation and conjecture. I'm going to take a quick water sig. One sec.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to get to Order 66, man. It starts popping, man. when it happens, it's unreal.
Dude, then this is when shirt hits the fan. Oh, wow. That has a double context. It's both PG and sexual. It's a Friday, folks. Then we get it's a Friday, folks. Then we get on to the blah blah blah. Excuse me. This is when we find out about the fourth force proof capsule. Excuse me. with Maul being in it, yada yada yada. Quick note: Bo-Katan calls Jedi's force wielding maniacs, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So we'll fast forward through some stuff. This is where it gets very quiet in the episode. Maul is put into his cell in the Maul's put into the cell block. Ahsoka stands on the bridge with Rex, and they jump through hyperspace, and then they have this most important, amazing discussion. It's not even a discussion; it's a quick chat where Ahsoka notes that she was trained to be a Jedi, a keeper of the peace, not a soldier. But since she was a Jedi, since she was a Padawan, she's only been taught to be a soldier. Rex says that he's also known nothing but war, and the clones have discussed, and they have mixed feelings about it because without the Clone Wars, the clones would not exist. And Ahsoka replies that, at least some good came of the war, since the Republic couldn't have asked for better soldiers or she a better friend. She throws him a salute. They have a moment of just love and recognition. And then Rex gets called away to what was the exact word? There's a new briefing. And at this point, we as fans know what's about to happen, because this is about middle of the episode. And if you've been following, the middle of the episode is the change in the story of what's about to happen. Episode 1, it was the middle of the episode is when Anakin and Obi-Wan get called away, and they depart to this separate mission.
And we never see Anakin again.
We never see him again. Like, that is amazingly mind-boggling, because he, all intents and purposes, is one of the most important characters in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So they do their thing. And that's when we get the music again, the audible cues. And all of a sudden, and it wouldn't be possible without the 2020 animation. You see something comes over Ahsoka, and she's got this feeling, and all of a sudden we hear through the Force, it's Maul that we get this introduction. Maul opens his eyes and he hears the voices of Palpatine and Windu and Skywalker, where it's like, Anakin, we gotta blah 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 blah. And they pull the exact audio from episode 3, where it's like, Anakin, don't let him kill me. He must stand trial. He's too dangerous to be kept alive. No, I need him. Like, they pull that sequence.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and the best part is there's only one part where they have Matt Lanter in that section, and it's, what have I done? And it's interesting because when he says, what have I done in the movie, like Hayden Christensen, it actually does sound like Matt Lanter a little bit. Like, they have this voice crossover in that moment. It's like, what have I done? Both in how they talk and how they speak and the depth of his voice. So that was like, they blended it right there. And that's the end of Anakin Skywalker, both for Matt Lanter and Hayden Christensen. Well, Ahsoka says, Anakin? And then we cut to Rex, and he says, yes, Lord Sidious. Oh, sorry. We get execute order 66. And he goes, yes, Lord Sidious. And that is, yes, Papa Dragon. And that's when we realize shirt's about to hit the fan again. The thing opens up. Ahsoka runs and says, I feel something terrible happened with Anakin. And Rex, are you okay? And he's shaking. And you can tell he's programmed, and he's really literally like breaking down. And he turns around, the clones break up. He says, no, I'll do it. Dude, I teared up hard.
Unbelievable scene. I mean, yeah. Because I mean, calling back to that scene you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. And even just in this episode, that scene of them talking and saying, oh, at least something good came out of the Clone Wars, and they have mixed emotions. And it's like, dang, and we know it's coming. That's what the biggest thing of me watching this whole season. Like, we know what's coming, and it's like, it's inevitable, and it's like, you want it to like not in this, but it's still pulling you in. It's still intriguing. Yeah,
I wanted to hate the clones so bad when I first started watching Clone Wars, and I started watching around the first episode I saw was from season 2. It was the Zillow Beast episodes.
Okay,
Which is a really good showing of Anakin's allegiance to the Chancellor and the Chancellor doing some evil deeds. Like, it's very good how they balance that. And then I didn't really start watching religiously until season 4 started. Ended because I came in when Maul came in, and I was like, bet. So, I wanted to hate the clones so much, but as you go through these, you love the clones.
Yeah,
like,
clones
and that is what it is designed to do. It is designed to show you, that the clones were engineered for a purpose, and B, the Jedi actually did lose their way. And it shows you why people were willing to go, yeah, forget the Jedi. They're corrupt. They're this, they're that. We're kind of having that right now in the world with police forces.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, there are people who do not follow the law as a police officer. I know people. I mean, I don't really know them anymore because they're in jail for getting caught for breaking the law as a police officer.
Yeah.
Thank God. Selling cocaine to kids is a horrible thing to do as a person, much less as a police officer. True story. So, like, it shows, it's like an interesting parallel between them. And this, and again, how Yoda says, this line of thought will lead us to a dark path. So then when it comes to Order 66, Rex says he'll do it himself. He turns around. He says, find him. Fives, find him. And then opens fire. And that's when we get the Order 66 music blaring in really hard. And he gets all the emotions. And oh my God. And it's just on Ahsoka. And since we've seen Ahsoka from a little kid, like a Padawan, like maybe 10 years, 11 years old. And she's now, 13, 14, 15. I don't remember. I think it's 3 years, the Clone Wars, but she's like a teenager now. She actually might be 12 at the beginning of, and then she's like 15 at this point. She seems older, but she's a Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
Not yet.
Yeah. So then you're just watching all of her clones with her face painted on their masks, trying to kill her, which is such imagery, just chef's kiss to freaking Dave Filoni. And oh my God, just amazing. She breaks free. They're on the hunt for her. I'll wrap the rest of this up. There's a quick sequence with droids. There's 3 different droids, one of which is a chopper from Rebels, like prototype. And the droids are freaking out because they know what the clones have done. And they're like, dude, like, what do we do? Like, that's not what we do. And you get to see that droids are programmed, which is tying into Mandalorian, which is fantastic considering it's the Mandalore arc, that droids are programmed a certain way. And these are programmed to be, good droids. They're programmed to be helpers of this and that and the other. They're programmed to help humanity and other species. And so they're freaking out, and she's trying to assuage them. And this is when we get, so I've been waiting for this tie-in since it happened in season, I want to say it's season 5. I should know this off the top of my head, but I believe it was in season 5 when it was, because that's when Fives goes crazy, and that's the start of the chips going bad, and they start trying to kill Jedi. And there's been brain swapping parts, and then there's been the chip failing, but this is like full blown. All the clones are instantaneously switched on. I actually should mention really quick that she releases Maul. They have a quick discussion. Maul laughs and goes, "Brilliant!
Yeah.
The clones were designed to turn against the Jedi the entire time. What a stroke of brilliance!" And he's actually complimenting his master. And then he's like, "Why did you release me?" And he's like, "Join me." And she's like, "No." And it's like, "Well, why did you release me?" "To cause chaos. You seem to be good at that." He's basically a distraction. Yeah, cool. And then he's like, "Give me one of your sabers. Give me at least a fighting chance." And she turns and so coldly goes, "I'm not rooting for you.
Yeah.
Get on while I still allow it." It's like, whoa. So dope. And then that leads to because this is the last time we see Maul, I believe, that leads to Maul having his own Darth Vader style hallway scene. You know how much I love that Darth Vader scene, right?
Yeah, no, I mean that Vader scene is unreal.
I like this one more.
No way.
I do. Here's why. No lightsaber.
Yeah, that part's cool.
And it's more violent. He's chopping heads off with panels. He uses nothing but the Force. He chops off an arm, a head. He slices a guy in half. He uses it to just straight block everything. And it is the exact same animation and how they walk, just with purpose, which makes sense. They both have robot legs.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
down to the hand being up in the front where he's got him crushed up against the thing. I like it more just because there is no lightsaber, and because I do love Darth Maul on a whole dark, different level. Ever since episode 1, like I said last week, it took 2 more episodes of the prequels for me to like Obi-Wan more than Darth Maul, and he beat him. He bested him in combat in episode 1. So like, that is my love for Maul. I still like Vader more because it was what I started with. I started with Vader, but Maul has a special place in my 8-year-old little heart.
I love Vader.
Maul's basically done until the next episode. Ahsoka finds out that, the report on 5s and all of that stuff. And then we find out that CT-7567, which is Rex, filed a grievance report, and we get to see that. And he already is on to the idea that the inhibitor chips that were put into them might have a different meaning than what a dark purpose that they don't already know about.
Right.
I'm going to sum up the rest. Basically, she saves Rex then with the help of the droids. Forgot their name for a second. Now, how does it end? I'm trying to actually remember how. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it ends with Yes, okay. So I almost cut this off too early. So I forgot that they actually save Rex in this episode. So they actually go in, they try to find it, and long story short, they can't find the inhibitor chip. It's literally cloaked and is never not being able to be found. The door opens. She defends it a little bit. They get it closed. No. They get it closed. I'm misremembering. She tells the droid if it opens that I'm going to need you to close it fast. Then they jump and they can't find the chip. They're trying to get it out. Time is against them. She goes to Rex and she starts repeating what. Oh my God. What is his name from Rogue One?
The guy who's like,
I can't believe I forgot his name.
Force with me. I don't know his name.
Donnie Yen is the actor.
Yeah.
So repeats, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. And this is the first time outside of Rogue One that we've heard that.
Yeah, that was an interesting call with that. That was interesting.
Right? It's so interesting, as if it is like, and it is a mantra. It's called the Guardian's Mantra.
Yeah.
And she recites it while touching Rex, and then they become in unison, and he starts saying it. And as they repeat, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. The chip pops up. R7 sends him into the surgery chamber. The door opens. She's defending. Tension is building. The music is swelling. The bolts are firing. The sparks are everywhere. And then we see Rex reaching for his gun. And then as all of a sudden we hear it go off. We see it really close up. And we see that he's shooting his clones. And they get the door shut. And she's like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, kid. I'm good. How widespread is this? And he says, it's all of us.
Yeah.
It's the entire Grand Army of the Grand Republic. Grand Army of the Republic. That's it. Yeah. And that's when they realize how fracked they are. End of episode. Well, sorry. They start cutting through the door. End of episode. Okay, I can sum up the next episode so much faster simply because it is a lot of emotional weight. The genuine plot is They break free. They defeat some of the clones. He's got his weapons on stun. She's not trying to hurt them. They're just trying to escape. Maul is doing his thing. Maul destroys the hyperdrive chambers with the Force, pulling them in, which sends them into a descent towards the moon. Very important for later. Ahsoka and Rex are beginning their travels through through the Republic cruiser, and they short story, they get to the what is it called? Flight deck. We'll call it the flight deck because I got Battlestar stuck in my head. From Douglas, he shot the name up. It's Chirrut Inwe, who repeats the Guardian's mantra.
Nice.
They find a ship. They do some hassling back and forth, and this is just Ahsoka and Rex escaping. And I don't want to spoil this for you because it is amazing. Thank you, Douglas. It is hangar deck. Apparently, I had flight deck, but I couldn't get hangar. Weird. Close. They there's a scene where Rex and Ahsoka trying a quick plan. There was a mention of Ahsoka talking about the last time she was with how they escaped the Clone Wars. It was, she had to choose between Maul or Rex, and she chose to save Rex instead of trying to capture Maul. They end up finding a ship and they escape while the cruiser crashes into a moon. It cuts. And we see Ahsoka in her cloak that we see in Rebels, and that starts setting everything up. The final shot of this whole season and whole series is something I never actually thought we'd get. And that is Darth Vader. They're on the moon, and there's a burial site. And Ahsoka drops a lightsaber. That's all I'll say about what happens to them. And then it cuts to sometime later. We see an Imperial ship coming on, a classic one that we know of. And then it lands, and it's snowy. So it's the first time we've ever seen a location with multiple seasons in Star Wars. Think about that.
Yeah.
It is mind-blowing.
That's very true, actually.
Vader walks up, sees the burial site, looks down, picks up the lightsaber, brushes it off, ignites it. It's Ahsoka's. Looks up, and
super cool as he ignites it too. Let's just hold it. He ignites it.
Like he ignites it. He holds it, sure. And he had to make sure. He also showed fondness to it of wiping off the snow. And it's like there's a moment of pondering, and it's how it's done in the body movements. Yeah. It's very Anakin style that we don't normally see from Vader. Now, our friend Taylor Solomon from a friend from WEC is actually just finished the Mortis arc.
Oh,
yeah, and we see that the daughter, the bird that the daughter plays, it's called the Convor. Excuse me, the Convor is above him, which is the symbol of the daughter and the light side of the Force from the Mortis arc. We can actually see his eyes through the Vader thing, and if it's
super cool.
It's super cool, and it is also, which I find to be the best part, it looks as though it's blue, and it's not like it should have multiple colors like the dark side does, right? But it's one iris color. So it's like the last semblance.
That's a good note
of having Anakin Skywalker. Like, and I think it's there because, that's the end of the Clone Wars for him. Like he didn't know what happened to his apprentice, and that would be a tie to his old life as Anakin. His wife's gone, Obi-Wan's gone. He's basically Vader. We don't know at what point in the saga this is as Vader. So it could be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years after. It could be it could be 15 years. It could be right before episode 4. That's a lie.
We don't know.
It's not right before episode 4. I know that.
Okay.
It could be up to 15 years after Clone Wars, but nothing further past because what happens in Rebels.
Gotcha.
And so that's like the end of it for him. He now has mild closure on his Padawan, and it's like, all right, well, I guess she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the Clone Wars. I'm so
Thomas,
sorry that I took so long to get there. David, you tell me your ranking, and I'll rank mine.
Sure. So my ranking goes as follows. I'm gonna go in ascending order. So number 4 out of these, it's gonna be episode 9, Victory and Death. For me, that was just kind of the setup, the build up. I really enjoyed that episode, but I think you
got those backwards. You said episode 9, Victory and Death.
Episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten. My bad.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's the episode I meant. Old Friends Not Forgotten. Yeah, that was a good episode. Last time you see Anakin and Ahsoka talk, that was awesome. You know, I mean, all these episodes are awesome. So the ranking's kind of like, kind of funny because I love them all.
Yeah.
Next, I'm gonna go Victory and Death. I think there's not as much happening, but I have it ahead of. The only reason I even have it ahead of Old Friends Not Forgotten is really because that Vader part. Like, I think the Vader part and kind of the build-up was a little more fun to a certain degree. Like almost with Old Friends Not Forgotten. So those are close for me, but Victory and Death, the Vader moment is just so cool. What a way to end it. I mean, it really lands like, it lands the ship. Like it finishes on a strong note.
It does land a ship.
Yeah, literally. And it's super cool. Like him igniting it and looking at it. I mean, it's a very powerful moment, right? And even the beginning with, Ahsoka and Rex, like it's a good episode. This is where it gets really close. What I think is the best episode. I want to say, you know what? My second favorite, my ranking, the second best to me is The Phantom Apprentice. That's the second best to me. I think you get all the stuff with Maul is fantastic. The fight is awesome. Getting the teases of it being during episode 3 is really, really on during that episode, and it's awesome. And it's right. I mean, it's soon before Order 66 starts, but to me, Shatteron's number 1. Basically for that reason, that it's when Order 66 actually happens, and I feel like that's, in my book, that's what the whole Clone Wars have been like kind of leading to a certain degree. I mean, because we all know they turn, right? And seeing that's Ahsoka's side of it and the Maul moment with her and, just the Rex and Ahsoka part and Rex like having to break out of it was so powerful, especially with the scene earlier with them discussing, like they're kind of being very reflective on the last, really what it was kind of meta. They're reflecting on the Clone Wars, the whole show, and super cool. I think that episode's the strongest. Yeah, that's my rankings. How about you, Thomas? What's your rankings?
All right. This is going to be awkward, but Old Friends Not Forgotten is number 4 for me.
Okay.
And that is super hard to say because I love the opening. I love the reunion of Ahsoka and Anakin, and I love how Anakin's like the only one who's emotional in that moment. Very important for what happens next. And then this is the most OP we've ever seen Anakin. So I want to rank it higher just because that, but I can't because it doesn't. And then the ending with, the siege of Mandalore and that scene of Ahsoka just balls to the wall, being a bad arse, dropping down. I love it. So that's my number 4.
Yeah. Number 3.
Mine is also Victory and Death. But it is number 3 for me because it's so somber and because I didn't want it to end. Like I
That's
really did.
Too. Yeah.
I was heartbroken, but also not, because at least we got the ending. I was so grateful that we got it, because when it ended, they were like, yeah, we knew what we were doing. We were closing out in like a couple seasons, and it's like, oh my. And so, like the Bad Batch, that was supposed to be in season 6. The Ahsoka and the Mechanic was also supposed to be in season 6. I think they were going to end with Maul being captive in that season, and then season 7 would have been, leading up to the final part to the Clone Wars. So bummer. Right. This is where I have the most trouble, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Same.
I think I'm gonna have to just to be different from you. Okay. I'm gonna have to go Shattered number 2, because I love what we get in this. But similar to episode 3, it is in the same sequence where I have the most dread. Right? Like it is designed to make you feel so freaking nauseous.
Yeah.
Like it is like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, but I can't look away.
Yeah.
And that leaves Phantom of Princess as my number 1 because it goes, and this is probably why. And the name, because of the Phantom Menace, right? Yeah. Obviously, I love that movie.
Yeah.
It is my second favorite movie from the prequels, which is,
Same.
I mean, most people's.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
So, you know, but the fact that, you know, the Phantom Apprentice and you know that Maul's in it, you're like, oh, it's going to be this. And then it's like, oh, no, it's not. It's about Anakin. That whole episode is about Anakin. And the prequels were about Anakin. And even though this is an Ahsoka story with Maul, it really is centered about Anakin. And it's the last episode really about Anakin. Like this is, if Old Friends Not Forgotten was the last we see of Anakin, the Phantom Apprentice is the last we feel of Anakin, because we realize it's over after this. As soon as he's told that he's spying on the Chancellor, we know it's over right there.
Exactly. Yeah. As fans, we know.
And here's why, really, the fight, bro. The lightsaber duel, the powers, the evil. It's not even evil. The monologue of truth from Maul, perfection. Like, so good.
It's great. I agree. They were close for me as well. You know, it was definitely close. The only reason I had shattered above was just because of Order 66. Really, just that moment.
Just that moment. And I would have
combined though are just fantastic.
Oh my god! Like those two, like you know, you can do Old Friends Not Forgotten, have a space. Phantom Apprentice, have a space. Shattered ends, and it's like, okay, like I want to know what happens, but it doesn't end. It ends on a low.
Right.
Whereas Phantom Apprentice ends on a high.
You have to keep watching
so
that.
Like,
that's
oh god! And those two, like Phantom Apprentice and Shattered, is like a special together. Very important. And because it's the turning point of the Clone Wars, of Star Wars, of all of it. Like those two line up with the turning points of everything.
Yeah.
And I had to put Shattered a little lower because I kind of was hoping we would see, like before the season started, I was hoping we get a little bit more of Order 66.
Okay.
You know,
we only really see
not just exactly. Well, yeah, like we've seen from Revenge of the Sith, which we see most of them die. There's only a few we don't see. You know, I was hoping we'd see some of the Jedi we've gotten to know. You know, like some of the ones that were created for Clone Wars, to see how they went out.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but we didn't, and it was focused on Ahsoka, which in hindsight, I'm okay with.
Yeah,
but if we'd have gotten, I enjoy the tie-ins, which is why Phantom Apprentice goes to the top, because it is so important to the lore to know how things fell out, especially considering, you know, Doug got in here a little bit late, but you know, we talked about Kitty Sackhoff reprising her role in Mando. And then he's talking about the rumors of getting Ahsoka in season 2 of Mandalorian, which we've discussed at aggressive and a nauseous length. But you know, and it's very important. And I think that episode is going to be incredibly important if we do get Ahsoka in season 2 of Mandalorian, because the Phantom Apprentice is where she earns the respect of Mandalore. She earns the respect of Bo-Katan Kryze. She earns the respect of all Mandalorians. She becomes a legend, much like Luke Skywalker became a legend, but she's a Mandalorian legend. And that's why when she works with Sabine, they have this amazing relationship, because she worked with her mom. Like one of Bo-Katan's right-hand people is Sabine Wren's mother, and Sabine Wren is my favorite Mandalorian. I've said it many times.
Yeah.
And I think Phantom Apprentice is important because she sees for the first time, I think she has maintained a perfect balance. She's willing to go to the dark side for a little bit, but also balance it back out with the light later on. She's willing to help join with Maul if it's going to be for the right reasons.
Right.
She's willing to let Maul create chaos if it means she can do what she needs to do.
She's got her own moral compass, really.
She's got her own moral compass, and she's exactly what the Jedi should be.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so important, and it is my favorite, because we see from her exactly what the Jedi are supposed to be. And if there's anyone to train baby Yeet / Yoda baby, it's Ahsoka.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We have our rankings. We got through it.
We have our rankings. Yes. So let's get to some questions. I'm going to scroll up really quick. David, most wanted toy you want right now?
So I was just looking actually earlier today. There is a pop that I really want. It's Spider-Man from Endgame, where he's holding the armor gauntlet and he's in instant kill mode. That's my toy I want the most right now. Is that final pop?
That's solid. The Darksaber. Not even a question.
Nice. Yeah.
It's supposed to release in spring, and then COVID happened, and I'm still upset that we haven't gotten to. I need it.
Yeah.
Another one from Ryan, ranking of the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, here's my thought.
2, 1, 3.
Oh,
the bullet.
Okay. Well, never mind. I was gonna say we should do that as a podcast, but 2, 1, 3. Mine's probably the same. I just needed an excuse to watch them all. So
yeah.
I mean, then again,
1 and 3 to me.
Batman Begins might be. I love Joker, so Dark Knight is obviously up there. But Batman Begins might be a better Batman film. So, so there's a debate sitting there.
We could definitely do that at a later date.
Where was that question at? From Douglas. Is it right there? Was I over it? It was not. It was it. Okay. Does Darth Maul need pants?
No, he doesn't really. Right?
He's a droid from the waist down.
Right.
Which is interesting because I can't tell if he actually has pants. Because there's it's hard to tell. They didn't really show much of his waist. In some scenes it looked like he had pants, and then in others you could see his knee joint.
Yeah.
So it's confusing. But in Rogue One, wrong. In Solo, he is not wearing pants. So we all know live action is the creme de la creme.
Yeah. Tell me.
Calm down there, Chief. So that brings us to our closing remarks. David, where can everyone find you on the social media?
Yeah, sure. You guys can find me on David J. Thompson on Instagram, on TikTok, my name, David Thompson on Facebook, and then David Thompson of 2 A's on Twitter. How about you, Thomas?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces, on Instagram, at Thor Son of Dale on TikTok, at TC Rochester Act, that is TC Rochester ACT on Twitter. You can also find me on Life of Thor, having lots of fun doing stuff. David, where can everyone find these podcast locations audio wise? That was the sentence.
Nailed it. You guys can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, really wherever you want to listen to. Let us know if there's any place you don't want to, and then also our hosting site of Spreaker.
Okay, before we get to our promotions, I love this question. David, from Kevin Budising. David, what is one Star Wars character you would choose to kill off?
That's a loaded question. It
is.
Geez. I mean, well, it's hard right now because we're kind of like sitting on we were kind of looking back on a lot of things. So it's kind of hard to, there's not a lot we have to look forward, story that we know going forward. But I don't know.
If you wanted to kill off a character and it changes the timeline, even who and when and where and why. I think Kevin wants a specific answer. So
Yeah. It's really hard to say. I guess I would maybe go. Oh my gosh, this is so hard because it's hard to really come up with a justification because like Star Wars, it is what it is. It's like who would I want to kill? Jar Jar Binks. He's annoying. Get him out of there. They can replace him so easily.
I knew that's what you were gonna say, and I knew that's what Kevin wanted to hear. He wants a specific answer. That was the answer.
Got it.
You know who I would kill off? I lost him. Oh my god, come back. Oh no. Ah.
Dang.
Oh my god, I blacked out, dude.
You're not gonna kill anyone.
I'm not gonna kill anyone. Yeah, you know, then again, I can't. He's already dead. Damn it. I was gonna say Admiral Trench because I hate that guy.
Yeah. Someone you
and then I'd go, Kiadi Mundi for being a jerk, and then Mace Windu, but they all die. So, who would I kill? Yeah.
Luke Skywalker. Episode 4 immediately.
Okay, I remember who it is. C-3PO.
Oh, okay.
And here's why. There were no stakes in Rise of Skywalker in terms of everybody dies, but not really. They should have let him, quote, it's not killing him off, but die by erasing his memory and starting from scratch. That would have been his death.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because that was so, I got so sad. I was like, damn, dude. Like, anyway, David, what do you have for promotion this week?
Yeah, so I just kind of came back with my sports podcast. It's kind of our movie deal, but I also have a sports podcast that's not live or anything. It's pre-recorded and all that, but you can also find that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It is called Double Down Debates for any of you sports fans out there that want to join me and some friends, a kind of rotating wheel of guests on there. Plan on doing that pretty regularly now. So yeah, check out Double Down Debates on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you want to listen to a little sports. How about you, Thomas?
So for those of you that have followed on Sunday, my short film Toilet Paper Jesus, which if you were here at the beginning of the episode, that was the song playing us into the episode. That is, gosh, excuse me. It is available. It's not available. Sorry. I got distracted. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, the Emerald Coast filmmakers will be. Why is this technology not working for me? Will be streaming on Facebook all of the films. You'll be able to see Toilet Paper Jesus. There are 12 short films that'll be playing.
Host a party on here on Facebook. There's sometimes there's that function you can
that is true. I might be doing that. I might not. I won't even lie to you. Because I'm gonna be at my dad's, helping him put a roof on, and he has bad internet. Thanks AT&T.
Yeah.
It is. I don't think the link's popping up in the chat. It's giving me. Weird. I'm typing it into the chat. There you are, everyone. Emerald Coast Filmmakers. If you copy that and put it into the search feature, you'll be able to find it. It is basically just facebook.com/Emerald Coast Filmmakers. Please watch. Not for me, but for everybody else. It's a bunch of short films created during quarantine, about quarantine, along the Emerald Coast here on the Gulf Coast where I live. And they'll also it'll be up for 24 hours until 5 p.m. on Sunday, 6 Eastern. And there'll also be a poll for viewer's choice. And I'm just going to beg you to vote for your favorite film. I'm not asking you to vote for mine.
Vote for him.
Vote for your favorite film. Because I'm gonna be an impartial person because I love film, so I'm gonna vote for anything that I think is best, and I always think mine is the worst, so that's not fair to me.
Vote for Thomas.
But thank you, David. That is what I have to promote this week. Thank you all. This is such a long podcast. This is our longest one yet. Thank you all for joining us. We lost a lot of folks because David let me talk for too long. I'm so sorry. This has been episode 11 of Lights, Thunder, Action. We will catch you next week. We love you.
Thanks, everyone.